I'm now joined by Caroline Nokes, who's the chair of the Women Equalities Committee, a senior Conservative MP in her own right as well. Caroline, thanks for seeing you, coming in. First, can I get your reaction to Kate's reporting tonight? The fact that you have senior number 10 staff warning each other and others warning others in government about Chris Pincher, yet still he was appointed.
Well, that's very worrying, isn't it, that number 10 staff were being warned about an individual who was very key in government. The Deputy Chief Whip job is an important one, and as Kate has indicated, it's about HR, it's about members of Parliament's welfare, and it should be somebody who you can trust, who you can go to if you have a problem, if you have any concerns. And I really do worry that the process to decide who was an appropriate figure to do that wasn't rigorous enough.
It wasn't rigorous enough by the Prime Minister and his people. I mean, do you disbelieve the Prime Minister when he said he was only aware of vague rumour that just simply wasn't enough to deny someone of a senior job?
Well, I simply don't know, and I certainly haven't had any conversations at all with the Prime Minister about appointments that he makes. But it does call into question what people knew and when. And I would always point out that the Nolan principles of public life are about transparency and openness, integrity, honesty. So actually, I think what members of Parliament are questioning is who knew what and when, and why was an appointment made when it appears that an appointment was made and yet number 10 staff were warned?
So you're a senior member of Parliament. You've served with Chris Pincher for several years now. Can I ask you, had you heard the rumours about him?
I'd heard some rumours about Chris, yeah, but I'd also had, experience of my own last week when I encountered Chris who'd had too much to drink on the Tuesday afternoon. And to be quite frank, in those circumstances, if a colleague has problems with alcohol, then it's the job of the Whip's office. It's an HR department. It's there to support colleagues. They should have sorted that. And I said to a very senior member of the party on the Tuesday, there's a problem there. He's drunk in the middle of the afternoon.
That wasn't Chris Pincher, that was someone else, presumably?
No, that was Chris Pincher.
That was Chris Pincher, drunk on Tuesday
afternoon.
Where was he drunk on Tuesday afternoon?
Well, I was having a meeting with a senior member at the party, and Chris came into the meeting and I could smell alcohol on him.
Right.
Now, look, there's a culture in Westminster of excessive drinking, and I'm not one of the Puritans who says shut down all the bars. I think they have a role to play. But it's really important that measures are taken when colleagues have problems. The Whip's office should be about welfare, shouldn't it? And it shouldn't be about glossing over problems, about ignoring them, brushing them under the carpet.
And what happened when you reported the fact that Mr Pincher, in your words, was drunk in the middle of Tuesday afternoon?
Nothing. And that's the stark reality. I was having a meeting with a very senior colleague about welfare issues within Parliament, and apparently nothing happened because the next night Chris was drunk again.
May I ask you why you think nothing would happen? Because the accusation coming from some in your party, some from other parties, is that this is a very senior level of government effectively protecting your own. Is that what's happening?
Well, it feels like some people are being protected and others are not. And I think, actually, if you have a functioning Whip's office, it should be about HR. And many of us have said that for years. We want it to be there for the welfare of colleagues. In many instances, you want it to be a safe pair of hands that you can go to if you have a particular problem, that you can trust them to help you resolve them. And to be quite frank, it doesn't feel like that to me, and that's why people like me and Karen Bradley are calling for a code of conduct for members of Parliament, specifically for Conservative members of Parliament, because the parliamentary authorities can't intervene in this way. And we've said, look, there should be a code of conduct for MPs that perhaps all the parties could come together, introduce, make candidates sign up to it before they're ever elected, so that everyone understands what those lines are, what you shouldn't cross, how you should behave. Now, look, I've had conversations at many levels within the party where I can remember one person saying to me, if you think we're going to put together a code of conduct that spells that out in glorious technicolor, you are deeply mistaken.
Sorry, who said that to you? Who said that's a terrible idea?
That was the Leader of the House said that to me after the last round of allegations we had. I said to him, look,
so this is Mark Spencer.
Absolutely, and he said...
Just to be clear, this is Mark Spencer, Leader of the House Commons, saying it's ridiculous to have a code of conduct.
No, he said it's simply not going to happen.
Why not?
Well, because I think he believes that MPs shouldn't need that. And he's right, we shouldn't need it. We clearly do.
It happens in this building, happens in every other workplace.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there is a real problem, and I think it's worth digging into the fact that members of Parliament, by dint of being elected by their constituents, have unfettered access to the House of Commons. We are not employed in the traditional sense. So if we're not employed, it's very difficult to prevent someone from coming into Parliament. And many of us are saying that, look, put in place a code of conduct so that if somebody infringes that, they can instantly have the whip suspended. And you move away from the personalities. You don't have to talk about the individuals. You just have well, you've breached this code, so however much we like you, you're going to be suspended. And I think that would help to clear some of this up, to give some transparency, to give confidence to staff members or anyone else who's been a victim of inappropriate behaviour, that if you report it, look, these are the steps that will be followed.
And presume you've had no response from the Prime Minister to this request?
I didn't write to the Prime Minister, and I think it's important to be very clear about that, that Karen Bradley and I, the chair of the Procedure Committee...
Has the Prime Minister written to you in return?
Wrote to the Chief Whip, not to the Prime Minister.
Has the Chief Whip replied?
No, I've not had a response.
Caroline, finally, this is 5 different MPs, 5 different Conservative MPs in the last 3 months. There have been more in recent times as well. What is going on in the Conservative Party that you have sex scandal after inappropriate behaviour? The ratio compared to normal people is way higher than anyone could possibly imagine.
I think there are some important questions. So do we know that the ratio is higher than other people? I can think of plenty of examples in the media where I know of bad behaviour and young journalists coming to me reporting things that have happened to them. So I think it's absolutely imperative that, and we know that it happens across all parties, and I think that's a tragedy, that what this is doing is it's dragging down democracy, it's dragging down standards in public life, it's calling everybody into question, and it's causing people to say to us, well, a pox on all your houses. Now, I don't want that. I want people to still engage in the democratic process. I want people to have confidence that the vast, vast majority of MPs, and that's the truth, the vast majority are there to diligently serve their constituents, to work hard, are not roaming around either drunk or behaving inappropriately. We're all trying to do the best job that we can for our constituents. But I think there needs to be much more transparency about the processes put in place to make sure that when something goes wrong, complainants will have confidence that a process is being followed efficiently, rigorously and quickly.